Welcome again, everyone. The September Centers for Spiritual Living theme has been Transcendent Purpose. And my talks this month have reminded us that our love, our compassion, and our kindness are powerful forces in the universe. And that we are each instruments of peace when we show up as our authentic self. And I shared the reminder, you're not your title, you're not your job, you're not your salary, you're not where you live. We're much more than that, aren't we? We are infinite possibility. Hear that? We are each infinite possibility. I know when I first heard that, I was like, oh, okay. You are, I am. So let's say, I am infinite possibility.
I am infinite possibilities.
Put that on again.
I am infinite possibilities.
Wow, because you are. What does that mean to you? I believe when we follow the authentic yearning of our heart, which is called the divine urge, we can't miss our purpose. We can't. The founder of Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, said this: "There is a greater mind within each which may be called upon." Right? That's the whole teaching. There is a greater mind within each which may be called upon. There is nothing too small or too great for this mind. He said, listen, be receptive, believe absolutely, be convinced. The one with a great purpose in life is always consciously holding this purpose up to the universal influx, thus catching or causing an outpouring of divine wisdom through his or her own individual mind. So my talk today is fall into the divine. Because fall is here. Have you noticed? Right? We can see and feel it in Mother Nature. The days are getting shorter. It got dark at like 7:15 last night. The air is crisper. The light is softer. And we have an abundance of harvest. The fruits and vegetables that keep coming to us are amazing. So in autumn, some trees shed their leaves, surrendering what no longer is useful in order to survive. And for the tree, it's not an act of death, but a preparation, a sacred conservation of energy that readies the tree for a more resilient life in the months to come. Think about it. This act of letting go demonstrates a divine wisdom. That renewal requires release. Hear that? Renewal requires release. So I think that this season of autumn and fall invites us to sacred work. The work of discernment, the work of letting go of physical and mental clutter. You got any mental clutter? Oh yeah. And to let go of physical distractions and illusions that just don't serve our higher purpose anymore. Just as the trees know they must shed their leaves to preserve strength for the winter and to prepare for new life in the spring, so too we can or must drop the beliefs and behaviors that zap our vitality and hinder our becoming. I know you know this. Take a breath. We each carry within us the capacity to do that, to let go. You can do it. You can do it. And to step into something new. Because when we do that, I guarantee you that your divinity rises. So we have to fall into divinity. Do you get it? We fall away from the old so that we rise to the new. I don't know about about you, but I was not taught to think of myself as divine. I was raised in a very strong Catholic family, bless them, who believed that God was out there and that I was born an original sinner. And that I needed to have a mediator between me and the divine of God, that priest. I couldn't go there myself. So thank goodness about, 20, 30 years ago, I discovered that that wasn't necessarily my calling, my truth, let's say. And I heard Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith say, you are born an original blessing. Hear that? You are each born an original blessing. That, to me, was like, oh, okay. So you are each born an original blessing. Say that to your neighbor. You are an original blessing. I was also taught that I would either go to heaven or hell when I died. Or actually purgatory and limbo. Oh yeah, I don't know what they were, but purgatory and limbo were some other places. But heaven and hell are not places you go to when you die. They're places of consciousness. So we can all be in hell right now, or we can choose heaven. It's always our choice. So I didn't find that religious input as a child very empowering. And one of the great gifts for me when I did find the Science of Mind teachings was that it gave me the courage, the tools, the resources, and the faith to release old program beliefs. I think right now in this world, with all that's going on in especially our country too, it takes courage to stay in your center, to allow and understand that everything changes. So this time of year can be like our personal metaphysical autumn. We shed layers of the old and we welcome the new. And we don't have to grieve the old aspects of ourselves that fall away or bemoan of how long it took me to finally get rid of that. No, be grateful that you're doing something. That's why we each show up here on Sunday, too, and do the work during the week, our spiritual practices. Be grateful that we're moving, we're evolving, we're on a path of evolution. I believe that for everybody. You just got to shake off that stuff that, just shake your hands, everybody. Just shake it off. Come on, shake it off. Shake it off and play ball. I give myself permission to let go. Let's affirm that. I give myself permission to let go. And only you know what that let go is. And that's good. So Ernest Holmes also said, you are a spontaneous, self-choosing center of life in the great drama of being, the great joy of becoming, the certainty of eternal expansion. Again, Ernest just opens us up, opens our consciousness up. I love going to the woods. Does anybody else? Yeah. Especially the redwoods. We just went a couple weeks ago to Armstrong Woods in Guerneville. The redwoods are so powerful. I mean, any forest is. But think about the forest floor and a walk in the woods. The forest floor becomes a canvas of fallen glory, where decomposition begins its quiet work, converting the old into nutrients for new growth. So the cyclical nature of creation, destruction, and rebirth echoes throughout all spiritual traditions. So in the Hindu concept is called Brahman, the divine reality that permeates all existence, and is perfectly demonstrated in autumn's progressions, where nothing truly dies, but merely changes form. contributing to the greater whole. I thought about that Friday when I was with Pam and her body. She had already left. She's just changing form. What if everything that we release is fodder and food for the unfolding recognition of our own innate divinity, our true self? You've probably heard that phrase of how that stinking compost makes your garden grow. You gotta have shit to make it grow. Compost. Well, that's not your spiritual. So I have a story for you from Mark Nebo. This is kind of my Bible, the Book of Awakening. He has a story from a saying from Mechthild of Magdeburg, who was a Christian mystic back in the Middle Ages in Germany. And she said, a fish cannot drown in water. A bird does not fall in air. Each creature God made must live in its own true nature. This introspective seer came upon the wisdom that living in our own natural element is the surest way to know the inner prosperity of health, peace, and joy. Her examples are striking. All we have to do is put the fish in the air and the bird in the water and see the dangers of trying to be what we are not. Of course, it's very clear and obvious for both the fish and the bird where they belong, but not so much for us humans. He says, part of the blessing and challenge of being human is that we must discover our own true God-given nature and purpose. This is not some noble abstract quest, but an inner necessity. An inner necessity. For only by living in our own element can we thrive without anxiety. And since human beings are the only life form that can drown and still go to work, the only species that can fall from the sky and still fold laundry, it's imperative that we find that vital element that brings us alive, that transcendent purpose in our life. Mark says, I vividly recall my struggles as a teenager when my mother wanted me to be a lawyer and my father wanted me to be an architect. Did anybody ever have that kind of thing happen?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Somehow, he said, I knew I needed to be a poet. Something in it brought me alive. The only one to understand was my boyhood friend Vic, who was in the midst of qualifying strongly for pre-med studies. But he really wanted to be a florist and work with flowers. For something in working with flowers brought him alive. So this is not about being a poet or a florist or a doctor or a lawyer or an architect. It's about the true vitality that waits beneath all occupations for us to tap into if we can discover what we love. What do you love? What brings you satisfaction? If you feel energy and excitement and a sense that life is happening for the first time, you're probably near your God-given nature and purpose. Yeah, it just feels good and right. Joy in what we do is not an added feature. It is a sign of deep health. Joy is a sign of deep health. It's so beautiful. Thank you, Mark. So I invite you to take a breath and let's go within and do a little process around this for today. Oh, if it's comfortable, close your eyes. And And drop from your busy, busy thinking mind, your analytical brain. Just drop down to your feeling heart. And sit quietly for a moment. Notice your breath. In and out. And imagine you can inhale your God-given nature, that it is as near to you as air is to a bird. And breathe and meditate on what you must be involved in for you to feel your own true nature. To let go of something, or to bring something in. Be open and receptive. How can you be more completely who you are in a daily way? As an instrument of peace. So as we move through this week, this day, involve yourself in a gesture of vitality that puts you in touch with your true nature and purpose. Something that lights you up. Pay attention to that. And take a deep breath and come back. Sometimes we get little insights right away. Sometimes it needs to brew a little bit. So be with this. Be open about this today. But my invitation for each of you is to be a leader. To be a leader for yourself. You set the tone of your day, not somebody else's mood. When you show up spiritually centered, others will rise to your energy. When you interact with others, you can maintain peace within. That's why we do our daily practices. Because we're grounded in our faith. Practice quieting your thoughts even when you're in the company of others that might upset you. You never know what the day will bring, so go with the flow and stay in a place of equanimity. Are you willing?
Yeah.
Remember, our natural state is love. And when love is what you offer, love is what returns to you. When peace is what you offer, peace returns to you. Smile. You're on life's camera. It's watching all the time. So my invitation for you this week is to go outside. Be in nature. Go to a park. Go in your backyard. Go to the coast. Go to a forest. And connect with that nature, the divinity of nature and you. You see the trees. Let the trees see you. Ask the trees to see you. Ask the birds to see you as you see the birds. It's very beautiful and wonderful when we do that, and it's very healing. Recognize that each of you is a unique and beautiful thread, and you are essential to the sacred tapestry of this thing called life. Each of you is that thread, and I'm so grateful for each of you to be that thread for this community, so thank you. Let go, let God, and be the change you want to see. Are you in?